Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Cool, Joe Brrr. Whatever you refer to him as, there's no denying he has put the NFL world on notice since leading the Bengals to the Super Bowl last season. But obviously it has taken a lot to get to this point. Let's talk about the story of Joe Burrow, from his early football career to an NFL Super Bowl appearance. What's going on, everybody? It's Double Move Football, and I just wanted to start the video by saying thank you to everyone that has subscribed to the channel. We just hit 300, so if you haven't already, make sure you join the Double Move Football family. Thank you for clicking on this video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. It would be in 2002 that Joe and his family would attend the Rose Bowl since his father was an assistant coach for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. From there, he fell in love with the game of football, and the Burrows would move a couple of times following his dad to different college programs to continue his coaching career. Joe Burrow grew up in a football family, but with his dad being a defensive coach, his family loved the defensive side of the ball. But Joe would choose a different path, mainly because he had to. His youth football team ran out of options for kids to play quarterback, and Joe was up for the opportunity to try something new. With all of the moving for his dad's job, it would take the family to Ohio, where Joe's father would get the defensive coordinator position, and Joe would attend Athens High School in the Plains, Ohio. From there, a star was born. Burrow would go on to pass for over 11,000 yards and 157 touchdowns in his high school career. And I just want everybody to think about that for a minute. 11,000 yards in high school is a little under 3,000 yards per season, along with just under 40 touchdowns. That's a remarkable career for any high school quarterback, and with all of his success, Burrow would be rated as a 4-star football recruit and was the 8th highest ranked dual threat quarterback in the class of 2015, and he would commit to Ohio State on May 27th, 2014. Burrow was excited about the opportunity to follow his dreams and play Division I football at one of the most prestigious programs in the country. He would redshirt his first year, as that shouldn't be a surprise, as most quarterbacks have to sit and let older guys play at the college level, but that wouldn't be the only year he sat. He would back up quarterback JT Barrett for the next 2 seasons, and over that span, he would throw just 39 passes for 287 yards, all of them, of course, in garbage time. After 2 years of sitting, Joe thought that maybe it was his time to get a shot at starting for Ohio State, but unfortunately for him, he would have to compete against Dwayne Haskins for the quarterback 1 position. He would decide that he didn't want to risk another year on the bench and entered the transfer portal. This simple decision would change his life and is what inevitably made him the first overall pick in the NFL draft. He would choose to attend LSU, where he would get a chance to play with some of the top talents around the country while also playing for one of the biggest programs in college sports. After transferring, Burrow would finally get his chance to start a full season. Although it might not have been as special as the season that was to follow, he led the LSU Tigers to a number 6 ranking in the final AP poll, having a pretty good season for the guy that had sat for 3 years at Ohio State. Then came 2019, the season that would change Joe Burrow's life forever. The year that would bring out conversations if it was the greatest college quarterback season of all time. Burrow would throw for 60 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions and lead the Tigers to a national championship. With any season like that one, it cemented Joe Burrow as one of the top prospects heading into the 2020 NFL Draft. All of the hype was surrounding the kid from Ohio. Burrow would get through the draft process with flying colors. From the time he declared for the NFL Draft, it was pretty much sealed that the Bengals would take him with the first overall selection. Some speculation from numerous sports websites questioned whether he wouldn't play in Cincinnati, but he never said a word and was selected with the first pick in 2020. Going into the 2020 season, Burrow was expected to win the starting job and was favored to win the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award. But much like every other first overall quarterback ever taken, success wasn't imminent. The Bengals would drop their first 2 games with close losses to the Los Angeles Chargers and Cleveland Browns. Joe would complete 37 passes for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Week 2 loss to Cleveland. It wouldn't be until Week 4 that the Bengals would get their first win over the Jaguars, marking Joe's 3rd game in a row with over 300 passing yards, a rookie record. But by Week 7, it would be an absolute field day for Burrow against the Browns again, throwing for over 400 yards and 4 total touchdowns on the day. Although they weren't a top contending team, they had close and competitive games. They would go on to drop a few more, for their hopes of having a decent season were soon dashed in Week 11 against the Washington football team. Burrow took a low hit while throwing a pass and tore his ACL and MCL in his left knee, among other damage to his PCL and meniscus. His rookie season would come to an abrupt end where he would win just 2 games. The following offseason would be full of rehab, and on the 6th of September, Burrow would be cleared to play in Week 1 of the 2021 NFL season. Even more exciting heading into 2021 was that Joe Burrow's teammate from LSU, Ja'Marr Chase, would be joining him on the field, someone he had quite the connection with dating back to his days of college. But this time around, the Bengals would win 2 of their first 3 games, already tying Burrow's previous win total from the prior season. A more mature and fully rehabbed Joe Burrow would take a step in 2021. This was evident in Week 4 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where Joe completed 25 of 32 passes for 348 yards and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, 2021 would be a much better outing than 2020, leading the Bengals all the way to the playoffs, ultimately facing the Las Vegas Raiders in the wild card round. The game would end the Bengals' longtime playoff win drought of 31 years. Burrow would lead the way with 244 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. The Bengals were headed to the divisional round to play the number 1 seeded Tennessee Titans. Thanks to the incredible leg of Evan McPherson, Cincinnati would win 19-16, with Burrow throwing for 348 yards and an interception. The first time the team had ever won a playoff game on the road. And this is where I see a lot of people saying that Joe Burrow was quote-unquote carried. That's wrong. Every quarterback has games in their NFL career they don't light it up throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in the playoffs. It's not impossible to have a good team and still be good as a player. I really just wanted to get that off my chest. Now let's get back to the story. With the win, the Bengals were 1 game from the Super Bowl, but had to face a really good team in the Kansas City Chiefs, who just took down probably the hottest team in the AFC, Buffalo Bills, the week prior. A 21-3 deficit at halftime looked to have ended the Bengals season, but it was Joey B time in KC. Burrow threw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns in a come-from-behind 27-24 win in overtime. Just a little recap before we talk about the Super Bowl. In Joe Burrow's second year in the league following a disastrous rookie season and complete knee tear, he led his team to the Super Bowl, having an overall great season at the same time. Really remarkable stuff. Many of you know how this story ends. The Bengals would go on to lose the Super Bowl, ending their incredible Cinderella story. When the season began, the Bengals had the 31st best odds in the league to win the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow wouldn't capture his first ring in just his second year in the league, and that is where the story ends. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Bengals back up last year's playoff success in 2022. Thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this kind of content. I really appreciate everyone that has supported me up to this point, and I can't wait to continue making content for all of you. And until next time, peace.